Do y'all see this chair over here that I haven't finished building from IKEA? Actually, I'm exposing too much at that point. Back to me. Hello gays, gals, boys, girls, and everyone in between. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Let's go ahead and talk about the obvious. First things first, you're probably like, Jordan, what are you doing? I am currently sitting on the floor of my living room in my apartment all alone because I don't own any furniture. But you know, sitting on the floor is a change of scenery. You know, you've never really seen me sitting on the floor ever in any of my YouTube videos, honestly. So it's a change of scenery. It's different, it's new, it's fun, it's fresh. Let me live. I'm trying to justify why I don't have furniture. Let me have this. For this week's YouTube video, I wanted to find a way to celebrate Pride Month that was a little outside of just all the other YouTube videos that are like reviewing Pride merch or just kind of talking about their Pride experiences. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. So happy Pride Month to everyone in the LGBTQ community out there who's currently celebrating. You know, it really doesn't matter if you're celebrating in the closet, out, you know, gay, non-binary, whatever the case may be, happy Pride Month to you. Something that I think about all the time and something that I'm always thinking about ever since I moved across the country is the fact that I wish I could always travel back in time and tell my younger self so many different things and so many different aspects of my life. I wish that there are so many things I could go back in time and tell my younger self. But for this week's YouTube video, I am focusing on the 9 things I wish I could tell my younger gay self. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right on into it. So the first thing that I wish that I could go back in time and tell my younger self, you know, this one's a really basic one, but it gets better. It absolutely 100% gets better, and I wish that I could go back in time and tell my younger self that, because I remember when I realized, and you know, I've talked about this before, you know, in my coming out story, but I remember the day that I realized that I was gay, or not even the day that I realized I was gay, but the day that I realized that I was different than everybody else. I remember just having like immense stress, immense anxiety. Like I was probably in middle school, so I was in like 7th grade, having all this like stress and having like, you know, an existential crisis about, you know, who I am, my identity as a 7th grader. Like who has that in 7th grade? And so I wish I could go back in time and just tell myself like, it gets better. You will love who you are. You'll love what you'll do. You'll love the friends and the relationships that you'll have along the way. Like it just 100% gets better. Your quality of life 100% gets better. And I wish that there's just one thing that I could really emphasize with myself is like, no matter what it may feel like right now, and this is my advice to a lot of queer people out there, if not every single queer person out there, no matter what your life feels like right now, 100% it gets better. In any way imaginable, it gets 100% better. And you'll learn to, not even learn, but you'll come to realize that, you know, life, it does get so much better. The second thing that I wish I could tell my younger gay self is don't try to change yourself to fit in. I remember when I really realized that I was gay and I realized that I was like, oof, like I'm kind of the only gay kid where I'm from, you know, in the middle of Yeehaw, Georgia. I tried to do things to fit in all the time. I tried to force myself to like sports. I tried to force myself to even watch straight porn. I tried to force myself to like girls. I tried to, you know, force myself to use religion as a cover-up for my sexuality. I wish that I would have been able to go back in time and told myself, stay true to who you are, stay authentic, stay genuine, because that's what people come to really like and appreciate about you is your authenticity, your individualism, you know, the differences that make you so unique. And I just remembered always looking for, like, I would sit there and think about what other people did, specifically what other straight guys did. And I would sit there and try to deepen my voice when I speak to people or dress the way that they did. So that way I fit in with everyone else and didn't feel like I just, you know, kind of stuck out. And I wish that I could just go back in time and be like, Jordan, stay true to who you are. Like if you enjoy wearing colors, if you enjoy playing with Barbies, if you enjoy singing Kesha at the top of your lungs, stay true to that. Like that's, people appreciate you for your individual authentic self. So it's so important, and I wish that I could go back in time and tell myself that, but stay true to who you are. The third thing that I wish I could go back in time and tell my younger gay self is don't try to hold on to relationships with people just because you feel like you should have a relationship with those. And let me elaborate on what I mean. I know specifically with a couple of my friendships and even my family relationships, I felt like I was supposed to have a relationship with you knowing that you were homophobic or that we had, you know, really different fundamental values. I felt like you were obligated to a relationship from me. And I like come to find out that that was really toxic for my mental health, putting myself around someone who I knew didn't support me on, you know, a basis of who I love, like that is so incredibly toxic. And even with family members, I felt like I had to have that relationship with them because they were my family, and I felt like if I didn't have those relationships with them, then I would be, you know, perceived as an awful person for not wanting to have a relationship with my family. But as I've gotten older, I realized it doesn't matter, you know, how they're related to you or like what the relationship might be, but if they're a toxic person, or if you feel like they're not good for your mental health, or if they don't support you 100% as a person, as I felt like a couple relationships in my life did, then it's absolutely fine to cut them out of your life. You know, at the end of the day, you have to be living your life for you. You can't be living your life for anyone else. You can't be worried about what anyone else thinks of you. And so a really big piece of advice that I wish I could go back in time and tell myself is cut those people out. You don't need that energy in your life. You don't need that negativity in your life. You are worth so much, and to have someone like that in your life is just not good for you. You know, cut them out. You know, stick true to your real friends. The fourth thing that I wish I could go back in time and tell myself is your friends will be your biggest support system in so many different ways. I have talked about this in my coming out story before, but when I came out, I had literally every single friend, I want to say every single friendship that I had was so incredibly supportive of me and my sexuality and me coming out to them. And every friend wanted what was best for me, and every friend offered me encouragement and support and love in ways that my family did not. My brothers are, you know, fairly supportive of me coming out, but my parents, my grandparents, my aunts, uncles, cousins, a lot of them were really unsupportive of me coming out, and they're really unsupportive of me, you know, living the gay lifestyle, whatever that even frickin' means. So I came to realize that my friends were a lot more than just friends, you know? I wish I could go back in time and tell myself that your friends are basically your chosen family. Not basically, your friends are your chosen family. Your friends are almost like your soulmates, and you know, a platonic way of, you know, they always will have your best interest at heart. They'll always protect you. They'll always support you. And I just wish that I could go back in time and emphasize the significance of having those genuine friendships, and you know, being able to maintain friendships with a lot of those people from when I was 16 and, you know, coming out all the way now to when I'm almost 22 and living on the other side of the country as, you know, an openly proud gay man. I wish that I could go back in time and tell myself, like, your friends are going to be the best thing that ever happened to you in your life, and you need to appreciate them, you need to support them. And I just wanted to let myself know that although you might think that family will be your #1 support system and that your family is going to be like your #1 supporter, that's not true. Or at least it wasn't in my case. But at least in my case, I wish I could go back in time and tell myself, you know, your friends are your #1s. The fifth thing that I wish I could go back in time and tell my younger gay self is that you will do what you dream of. I remember, you know, specifically this just hit me last weekend when I was in LA. When I was in high school, LA was very much a city for me that felt like a fantasy city, but it also felt realistic. I felt like that was kind of like what I always dreamt of, was being able to exist in LA one day. And like I said, it felt like a realistic fantasy in a really weird way, because it felt like it was a dreamland that I would never be able to go to, but I also knew that it did exist. And you know, there is a chance that I could go to LA one day. I just never knew when that day would be, or if I would ever have the opportunity to, you know, see LA in person. But that was kind of like my escape from reality back in Jasper, Georgia, was thinking about there are amazing cities like LA that exist that I've always been super interested in, and knowing that I can't exist in those cities one day, but like such an escape for me. I also want to travel back in time and tell my younger self, like, you will move across the country. One of the biggest things that I always wanted to do when I was younger was I always wanted to pack up my car and just move across the country, and I never in a million years thought it was going to happen. And the fact that that's happened, so many amazing things that I dreamt about as a kid have happened, and I want to go back in time and tell my younger self, like, you will do the things that you dream of. You know, that you will do the things that you never thought you'd actually do. You will do them, and that's amazing, and you'll be able to celebrate yourself one day. The sixth thing that I wish I could go back and tell my younger gay self is that you will find love, you will fall in love, and it will be one of the best and the worst things that will ever happen to you. I know when I was younger and I realized that I was gay, I never thought the day would come that I would fall in love with someone. I never thought that I'd be able to experience what it feels like to have someone else just care so much about you. And I've talked about this a couple different times in my videos, but I've been in 3 serious relationships in my lifetime. You know, the most serious one I think was with Alex. You know, being in a relationship and being in love is such a powerful thing. I think especially for gay people, because so many of us struggle so much with our sexuality and figuring ourselves out. You know, we never really think that there's a day that we'll be able to, you know, openly love someone or have someone openly love us for who we are. And then I sit there and think, like, you know, if I come out and don't find love, then what was the whole point of coming out? You know, what was the whole point in making my life this difficult? What was the whole point in going through all this emotional trauma if I don't find love? And I wish that I could go back in time and tell myself, you will find love, not just once, you will find love multiple times, and it will be the best and the worst thing that you could have ever imagined it to be, but it's such a special thing. Someone will love you in the way that you've always dreamt of, and it's a great thing. The seventh thing that I wish I could go back in time and tell my younger self, which kind of ties back to my second point, is value your differences. It makes you so special, you know, being different from the general crowd, being different from the general public. It makes you so unique. And this just goes back to the point I was making earlier of your authenticity, your individual self makes you attractive to other people, you know, and not even in like romantic or sexual way, but people can see when you're being true to yourself. And that is, you know, a really special thing for you as an individual. It's a really special thing when other people see that, because it inspires other people to want to be authentic as well, because there are so many people in this world that are trying to fit in or that are trying to change themselves to be someone or something that they're not. And so I wish I could go back in time and tell my younger self that, you know, your differences are what make you so special. You know, your sexuality is what makes you so special. Your passion for whatever the case may be, like, you know, music, politics, whatever it may be, that's what makes you so special. And that's what makes other people attracted to you and want to be your friend, or, you know, maybe you want to fall in love with you. Your differences are what makes you so unique and what makes you stand out from everyone. So I wish that I could just go back in time and tell myself, celebrate yourself for being different. Celebrate those differences. Celebrate the fact that you're gay. And that's what I love about Pride Month, is I finally get to celebrate what I was so afraid to share with the world when I was younger. The eighth thing that I wish I could go back in time and tell my younger self is that there's always going to be another relationship around the corner. And what I mean by there's always going to be another relationship around the corner, I mean friendship, romantic relationship, you know, family relationship. There's always going to be a new relationship around the corner. There might be a new development in a relationship. So whenever you feel like you're in those moments that I had when I was younger of, oh my God, I don't have any friends, I don't have a support system, like what am I going to do? I wish I could go back in time and always tell myself that there's always going to be another person around the corner who's either going to be an amazing friend, you know, an amazing partner, you know, an amazing family member, whatever the case may be, there's always another one around the corner, and you should never feel alone because there's going to be another relationship there. Even in romantic relationships, I remember thinking as a younger teen that if I were to fall in love, what happens if I lose that? Because I thought that, like, you know, you fall in love once and then that's it. In each relationship, whether it's friendship or romantic or family relationship, every single relationship is going to teach you something new. It's going to teach you something that you'll be able to hold on to and value for the rest of your life. And the ninth and final thing that I wish I could go back in time and tell myself, Jordan, younger Jordan, listen up. Love yourself first. Do it. Just do it. I wish I could go back in time and tell myself to love myself first, because I cannot tell you how many times I doubted my self-worth. I doubted who I was as an individual. I doubted what I brought to the table. I doubted my personality. I doubted my characteristics. I doubted my friendships. And I wish I could just go back in time and tell my younger self that you are that bitch. Do not underestimate yourself. And that's my advice to any other queer person out there who might be watching this right now. Love yourself first. You have to learn to value who you are, value what you bring to the table, know your worth, relish in who you are. And you don't have to have yourself figured out, because that's okay. Because I'm, you know, 22, just moved across the country, and I'm still learning things about myself every single day that I never even knew until I moved across the country or got to this point in my life. But it's so freaking important that you love yourself first, and that's honestly why I have it tattooed on me, because you don't ever need to, you know, doubt who you are or think that you're worth less than what you are, because you are so amazing as an individual, and you should never, ever, 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 ever doubt who you are, especially as a queer person. Celebrate those differences, celebrate what makes you unique, sexuality, gender identity, whatever the case may be, celebrate that, because that's what makes you so special and so unique, and you gotta love yourself for it too. You have to love yourself for it. But yeah, that's just a quick little recap of 9 things that I wish I could go back in time and tell my younger self. You know, existing as almost 22 years old as an openly gay man, knowing that thinking back on the time that I would look at myself in the mirror and mouth the words "I'm gay" and then just get immediately freaked out because I knew that there would never be a day where I'd be able to go out in public and say that without being scared. You know, basically what I'm saying is be proud of who you are, love yourself for who you are, don't underestimate your value or underestimate your abilities or what you bring to the table as a person. Celebrate your queer self because you are doing the damn thing. Thank you guys so much for watching this week's YouTube video. Thank you all for the love and support that you give me on my channel. I love you all so freaking much. Happy Pride Month to everyone out there, and don't forget to love yourself first. If you do want to follow me on my other social media, you can follow my Instagram at @StewardStewart, my TikTok at @StewardStewart_, and my Snapchat at JorgeTheTaco120. Thank you guys again so much for watching this week's YouTube video. I can't wait to see you guys for the next one. Peace out, gays and gals.